Good morning, guys. It is a great day to be on 625. It is. For today, we are going to move on to the integer number system and absolute value. So here we have a number line, and we talk about integers. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. So all the numbers to the right, we're used to seeing this number line right here. Numbers to the right, as we know, are positive numbers. Numbers to the left of zero are what we call negative numbers, and we're going to start looking at those. And zero in the middle is a neutral number. It's not positive nor negative. It's just zero. So numbers to the right are positive. If you notice, if I start zero, the farther I get away from zero, the bigger my numbers get. This opposite is true for the other side of zero. If I start at zero and I go to the left, the smaller my numbers get. So the farther I get away, the bigger on the positive side. The farther I get away, the smaller I get on the negative side. So if I look here, this asks us to place a check mark next to all of the numbers that are integers. And once again, integers are positive and negative whole numbers. Whole numbers are numbers that if you start to count, you count by 1, 2, 3, 4. They're also called counting numbers in a way. They're not fractions. They're not decimals. They can be positive, they can be negative, they can be zero, but they're not fractions or decimals. So if I look up here and I look to check mark all my integers, -3 is an integer. 9 is an integer. 3.2 is not because it's a decimal. -1/2 is not because it's a fraction. 4.3, it's not because it's a decimal. 18 is because it's a whole number. -3.3294 is a decimal, so it's not an integer. -3 is a negative whole number. 1 3/4 is a mixed number, so it's not. That's a decimal, so no. -4 is an integer. -2/3 is not. -5 1/9 is not. -12 is, and 0 is. So I check marked all the numbers that were positive or negative whole numbers. So no fractions, no decimals. So that's step one with integers, is being able to identify integers and, to reiterate, positive and negative whole numbers. The next slide says we are going to start representing situations with integers. Positive numbers are greater than 0, and they represent gains, increases, and going up. Negative numbers are less than 0, and they represent going down, decreasing, lowering. And a positive number is always greater than a negative number. So positive 18 always be bigger than any negative number in the entire world. So now we have some situations, and I want us to use integers to represent them. So a gain of 20 yards in football, well, that means you're moving forward, you're going in the positive direction, so that's a positive 20. I don't need to put a positive sign there because we assume any number that we see is automatically positive. When you go shopping, you don't see a price and say, hey, that TV is -$200. You assume it's just a positive, normal $200. If you spend $20 at the store, you're losing $20, so that's a -20 transaction, a -20 transaction. If you're 10 feet below sea level, it means you're going down from sea level, so that's a -10. If you are playing a game and you get an increase of 5 points, it means you're increasing your score. So that's a +5 or +5. And I don't have to write that, so I'm going to erase it. I was just talking. The foundation of a house sinking 4 inches, well, it's going down, so that would be a -4. So anything that goes up or is increasing is a positive integer, and anything that's going down or you're losing or you're spending is a negative integer. Let's do a few more. What happens if you have a mountain that is 539 feet tall? That'd be a positive 539. What if you find $38 on the sidewalk? That's yours. You're gaining that money. That's a positive 38. If it's 18 degrees below zero, if you're thinking about thermometer, and you go down to the negatives, that'd be -18. Dropping an egg 4 feet, well, if it's going down, that'd be a -4. And if you earn $50 from babysitting, you're gaining $50, so that is a positive 50. So with these, if you have any questions, go back to this slide right here, and it really explains what key words we're looking for and the way we want to represent these integers. Next thing I want to talk about is opposite numbers. Opposite numbers are the same distance from zero, but on the opposite side of zero. And the easiest way for us to think of these is it's the opposite sign. So it says graph each integer and its opposite. Well, I have -4 right here. What's the opposite of -4? +4. I have 8. What's the opposite of 8? Negative 8. What's the opposite of negative 5? Positive 5. And what's the opposite of 3? That'd be a negative 3. We'll write the opposites underneath it real quick. And back to the definition, opposite numbers are the same distance from 0. So I usually like to kind of just draw this out into a shape, and you'll see how symmetrical it is, because we'll go right here and draw a line straight through 0. And you'll notice that it's symmetrical. And so I know it's easy to think that opposites are positive, negative, negative, positive, but I really want you to kind of envision in your head that both those numbers are the same distance from 0. If I start at negative 4 and I walk to 0, I would take 4 steps. If I would start at 4 and go to 0, I would take 4 steps that way too. So opposite numbers are opposite signs, but they are the same distance away from 0. This one is absolute values, super easy, but kids like to confuse it and overthink it. Absolute value are these two bars right here, if you can see them. Absolute value is that we have a number like 7 between these two bars, kind of like it's in prison. And absolute value is the distance a number is away from 0. And now if we were in class right now, I do this every year, I would take the front row desk, I would tip it over, and I'd write a big 0 on it. And then I usually, if it wasn't COVID, I would take someone's something, a pencil pouch, a pencil, and I would chuck it across the room. And I'd walk to it. If I start at 0 and I walk this direction, say 5 steps, and I pick it up, how many steps did I take to get to 0? 5, right? From 5 to 0, it would take 5 steps. Well, now I would walk back to 0. I would throw it the other way and see I was at negative 5. How many steps would it take me to get from negative 5 to 0? 5. Absolute value is just asking how far away is a number from 0. And a little hint is when we talk about absolute value, our answers will always be positive. Always positive answers. Because if I start at 5, how far away from 5 is 0, or how far away is 5 from 0? 5 steps. How far away from 0 is negative 9? 9 steps. How far away from 0 is 7? 7. If you notice, it's literally just the number in the absolute value bars. You should make that number positive. If it's positive, it stays positive. If it's negative, it becomes positive. Absolute value is always positive because it's literally asking if I sit you down on that number and I tell you to walk to 0, how many steps do you take? You can't take a negative steps. Even if you're walking backwards, you're still moving in a direction. Distance is always positive. Absolute value is always positive. So the absolute value of negative 13 would be 13. The absolute value of negative 12 would be 12. The absolute value of 9 would be 9. The absolute value of 6 would be 6. And the absolute value of negative 100 would be 100. Every answer on here is positive because it's the distance that number is away from 0. I know I've said that a lot, but students don't usually do a great job of remembering this. Absolute value bars ask you how far away is that number from 0. Okay. So for the last thing for this lesson, we are going to compare integers. We're going to compare positive and negative numbers. And I usually show a video for the PBS Math Club, and I'll attach that to this lesson as well. But it talks about integers being like watching YouTube videos, and the way we make decisions to what YouTube video we want to watch is usually by the views and by the thumbs up and the thumbs down, the likes and the dislikes. And those likes and those dislikes are really just like positive integers. So this is a silly video called How Animals Eat Their Food. And it had, when I made this, over 125 million views. And of those, it had over 1 million likes and over 30,000 dislikes. So those likes are like a positive integer, and those dislikes are like a negative integer. So when we first start comparing integers, if we think of positive integers as being thumbs up, likes, and negative integers as being thumbs down, dislikes, and we use that like we would to decide which YouTube video would be better, we can compare integers. So we're going to start off with actually YouTube videos right here. It says which YouTube video is better, a video that has 4 likes or 9 likes. Well, I know if you're publishing a video, you want to get as many likes as possible. So it would be 9 likes is the greater one. What about 8 dislikes and 15 dislikes? Well, if you're putting a video out there, you don't want a lot of dislikes. You want to have as few dislikes as you can. So that is going to be the one we want to have the inequality sign eating. Which one's better, 13 likes or 12 dislikes? Where likes are always better than dislikes, positive integers are always bigger than negative integers. 25 dislikes, 38 dislikes. Once again, the fewer dislikes we have, the better it is. 14 dislikes, 13 likes. The more likes we have, the better. The more dislikes we have, the worse. We want with more likes. So when we move over here, think of YouTube videos as well. And I'm also think of temperature, okay? So if I go over here, I'm comparing 9 and 13. Which number's bigger? Well, 13, that one's pretty easy. What about -5 and 10? Well, think about, would you rather have a video that has 5 dislikes or a video that has 10 likes? 10 likes. Think about temperature. Would you rather the temperature be -5 or +10? Is it 10 warmer? Yeah. Think about money. Would you rather be in debt to somebody $5 or have $10? You'd rather have $10. So a positive number is always greater than a negative number. Same with here, a positive number is always greater than a negative number. Here we have 2 negative numbers. So let me think about temperature. What's a hotter, -2 or -6? -2 is, because remember, when we start at 0, the farther we go in the positive direction, the bigger the numbers get. The farther we go in the negative direction, the smaller the numbers get. So the closer a number is to 0, when it's negative, the bigger it is. Because if you think we start at -1,000 and we start walking towards 0, every step we get to 0, it's going to get, our temperature's going to get hotter. It's going to get close to 0. So the more I move into the right direction of the number line, the bigger my numbers get. So -1,000, smaller than -500, which is smaller than -100, which is smaller than -50, which is smaller than -1. -1 is the biggest negative number there is, and it's the closest one to 0. So the farther we get away from 0 on the negative side, the smaller the numbers get. Just like the farther we get away from 0 on the positive side, the bigger the numbers get. So right here, I'm thinking I'd rather have 2 dislikes on my YouTube video than 6 dislikes, so it's going to go that way. And I'd rather have 19 dislikes than 25 dislikes, so it's going to go that way. I think we have 1 or 2 more slides left. I want us to order these from least to greatest. So I look here, and when I'm ordering it from least to greatest, I'm always going to start with my negative numbers. I have -5 and -3. You want to think about YouTube videos. Which one's worse, 5 dislikes or 3 dislikes? 5 dislikes is the worst, so it's going to come first. It's the least desired video. Then the only negative number I have left is -3. And when we do this, we will always have 0 in the middle between our negative numbers and our positive numbers. So 0 is an option here. So 0s will come next. And then 7. And then 9. So that one's done. On number 2, they're all negative numbers. So remember, the farther you get away from 0, the smaller the number gets. And the way I think of it is the bigger the number is when it's negative, the smaller it actually is. So 1,001, 1,000 is the bigger number. So if it's negative, it's going to be the smaller number when it's negative. So right here, -13 would be the smallest, followed by -11, -4, -2, -1. You can really think it's just the opposite of ordering it in the normal way. Normally it'd go 1, 2, 4, 11, 13 if it's positive. So if it's negative, it just literally goes the opposite way. And down here I'd have a -7, then a -5, then a 0, then a 5, and then a 7. All right, so that's going to conclude the notes. Please complete today's assignment. Also, please watch the other videos I post. I have this video will be posted from me, but also watch the videos on YouTube. I don't just pick random videos. I pick videos that I think will help you learn, videos that I would show if you were in class with me. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me. But hopefully, I hope you guys have a great day, great week, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, guys.